Okay, good afternoon once again. So today we are actually what are we doing? We are doing a project in Google Colab that's on in Python, which is our last edition. So now before we don't need a lot of back and forth, right? We've done a lot yesterday. So today we are just trying to go deep into the project. So the first thing is you have to go to any browser of your choice, then click on what's Google Colab, right? So just search your Google Colab there. So and click on enter. So you have the first one here. That will be the first thing, the first link that you see there with this gold logo. So just click on it. So it will lead you, especially if you've been doing it before, it will lead you to something like this because I've been working on it before. But if you are new to it, it will bring something like sign in and you just have to follow the process. So once you follow the process, you will see something like new notebook. You want to click on new notebook. So I need to cancel this one today. Please, in case you want to interrupt me or you want to ask a question, please, I really cannot hear you because I'm not with my AirPod today. So you need to like signify probably when uh you I don't know if you react with an emoji, I can easily see it on my other phone here, but I can't hear you. I forgot my AirPod while I was coming here today. So let's start the class. So the first thing is we are working with a new data set. So we just want to look at the data set. The data set is somewhere around there. So I have to go and upload it. You have to click on this file. Can you see this file? Then you can see something like an upload sign, right? I hope everyone can see that. So you want to click on that upload sign. So I know I actually downloaded something today. So we have Global Reel, this one. So I will send it to the group once I'm done. So it's already loading. So we just want it to just wait till it's done loading. So you can already see it as which is the first thing. Now when you get to Python, right, you can just cancel this one. We'll talk about that one later. So when we get to Python, the first thing is you have to import the necessary libraries. So you can actually see when you move your cursor to the middle of this thing, you can see something like, are you trying to write a code or are you trying to write a text? Now, in this case, I want to write a text. So the first thing you have to do is what? You have to import a library. So I want to write something like importing, right? So now, what are the libraries? What are the libraries that I called yesterday? I said we have the pandas, we have a lot of libraries on Python actually, but the one we use for basic data analysis, they are pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib. Then we have what's the next one? Seaborn. So don't worry, we'll be using them today. So we have imports. Please don't use it in capital letter. It has to be in small letters. So we have imports. What are we writing? And I think we should know the importance of import pandas as PND now. So import numpy as what? Import numpy as MP. Then the next, no, last one, import matplotlib, matplotlib.pyplots. I mean, from that, you will have seen the importance there, pyplots as PLT. Then the last one is import seaborn as SNS. Now, you can see we've written everything here. We've written a whole lot of libraries here. So the next thing is you have to click on run these libraries, right? So when it is running, you can see something like 1 second. That means you've run this particular cell is now running and it is doing so good. Everything has been imported, right? Now I've exhausted all my cells. So you can just click on B, which actually show, but you can see this color blue. You can see like it has a blue edge. So if I click on escape, can you see there is a cursor blinking on here before, but once I click on the escape, it is not showing the cursor anymore. So you can also, you can click on escape and B, Can you see I have another one? But if that is too much stress, you can just go to your plus code, then you keep tapping it, then you have more cells to write. So the next thing is you want to import your what do you call it, your data set. So let me just write import your data sets. Right? So when you're importing your data set, right, you have to say something like PD, because I told you that the function of this particular PD is what we are trying to do basic data analysis, and you will actually see it. What are we trying to do? The data I'm reading is what read CSV. And I told us that because I am using CSV does not mean that that's all. We have different type of data. We have the Excel, we have XLSS, we have JML, sorry, JSON, XML. We have quite a lot, and I think I explained that yesterday. So we want to do reach underscore CSV. So what's the name of our data set? So you have to when you've written your read CSV and open your brackets, the next thing is you have to open your parentheses. Can you see I've opened my own parentheses there? Then go back to what you've imported the other time. Right, click on the three dots. Then you can see we have our copy part here. So once you copy your part there, now in between the quotation mark, then Control V, you paste it there. Now once you run it, you can see it is saying something like 0 seconds. But remember, if I want to call this, I have to cancel this one. But please, in case you want to interrupt me or you want to ask a question, please try to unmute your mic because I can't see you. I really can't see anyone. Please try to unmute your mic. Now, when you say variable, I think we explained what variable means yesterday. Because if I want to refer to this data set now, that means I have to rewrite this code every now and then. But I can easily store all this table inside a variable. Now, let's say the variable I want to store it to is called data frame. That's the short form of DF, right? So I can just run it again. So it is giving me number 3. Right. So let it load. Can you see we have 3 now? So now if I call on DF, that means the table has been stored inside my DF. Can you see? Now let's just look at the table. Let's get some information about the table. So to get some information about the table, you have to use some basic keyword like DF. That's the table, right? Dot info. We are trying to get some information about the table, right? So when you write info, you have to open it and close your parentheses. That's your bracket. Then run it. So now let's look at it. That means we have 15,000 rows and there are no null values. Actually, you can see none of them have null values. Then you can see we have objects. And I told us yesterday that when we say objects, that means what string text data type. Then we have floats. What's the meaning of floats? And it's data just like what um numerical data type, right? I think I explained this yesterday. So the next thing is okay, we've gotten enough information. So now let's just say df dot shape. So what's the function of this shape? Now remember, when I'm writing my shape, there is no bracket. Please, you just need to know it. The more you write it, the more you actually know it. So the shortcut for running this cell is Control plus Enter. While you can run it with this one, you can also use my shortcut, but I do use shortcut a lot. Now, what's the significance of writing shape? The significance of writing shape is the number of rows. You can see the number of rows here, 15,750, which is the same thing, which is correlating with this one, right? Then the 15 means that it has 15 columns. Now, you already understand that, okay, the data set I'm working with is more than 10,000 rows, right? It's more than, its exact number is what, 15,750. And what's the column number? We have 15, which is quite good. Now, another thing you want to know is that you want to do df dot describe. So when we call on describe, it will actually describe all the numerical data type, that numerical columns that you have in your data set. So now you can actually see that my numerical data set start from year down to population million. So if you actually look at this from year down to population million, it is not concerned about all this, but you can make it concerned. You can just write something like include object. When I say include object, that means include the object data type, because ordinarily it will focus on what? It will focus on numerical data type. I think I will have a mistake here. Okay, there are no mistakes. Include objects. Okay, can you see? Yeah, which is quite good. Can you see now? We have more than just, we have the country name now. You can see now it is giving you that your country name is 15,715, and we have 22 unique value. So I already know that, okay, this particular data set is actually about unemployment, right? So I already know that, okay, we have 22 countries. That means the unique countries where we got this information, what do you call it? Where we got this unemployment information is from 22 countries. Now I'm already getting a bit of um, conclusion for my data by just using my basic keywords, right? So you can see that then they said France is the top. When we say top, that means the first row is the country is France. So we have frequency. Then you can just look at this, right? There are a lot of things. You can see we have three regions. We have income level, there are just three. Economic classification, we have gender two is three. Wow. Now I can easily know that, okay, we don't have male, female. Probably we have unknown or we have someone in binary or I don't know. So I just add more cells. Then I just do some, let's look at our columns. So you can just say df dot what columns, right? We want to know how many columns that we have. So it is saying, okay, when you see something like index object is not callable, so you just remove the parentheses. That means in this case, you don't need to add parentheses. So now let's rerun it. So can you see it is running? So you have to know how to read the error message. Please don't be scared of error message. It happens to everyone, even as the to the experts, it still happens to us, right? So you don't be scared when you are starting out. The best thing is when you see the error message, just know how to correct it, right? Don't be scared at all. Right, so we can see we have all of this one. Now let's start our project. I've actually prepared 20 questions here, but I'm not sure we'll be able to finish it. But I guess with what we've learned yesterday, and how simple Python is, I guess we should be able to finish it. So now we want to start with, let's look at the first 5 rows. So I want someone to unmute because I actually told us this yesterday. Okay, how can I get the first 5 rows of my data? Please, can someone unmute their mic? Thank you. Anyone? Like, should I call names? Either ways, I don't want to waste time. So to actually call on the first 5 rows or 10 rows, you can just write DF, that's your data frame, that's your table, right? What you want to say, I want to see the first 5 rows. So you just say DF dot add, right? Open brackets, let's say 10, because I want to see the first 10 rows now. If it is 5, I will have written what 5. But in this case, let's say 8 self. So you can write anything there. So if you actually look at you see the whole number is 0 to 7, which equals 8, right? Because you said 8. That means it's actually giving you the first 8 countries. Can you see? Okay, someone asked me that, can I explain what df.describe mean? So I think I explained this the other time, but I guess you did not catch that. So when you write df.describe, basically it's describe your whole data set. It's more like it's majorly further highlights your data set, right? After you've used df.info, can you see what df.info is doing? That is giving you information about the data set. The same thing as describe, but in this case, info is, we can see all of the data sets. You already know that we have 15 columns, and this 0 to 15 and 14, that's 15 columns, obviously, right? Thank you. Now, the difference between info and describe is that in describe, it is only concerned about everything here, everything in numerical data type. It will only give us information about numerical data type, right? Both integer and float and decimals also. So you can actually see that. But because I have written include object, now let's say I remove this one, Control X, Control Enter. Can you see now we have here all of this one? If you actually look at it, it will be year unemployment rate. Can you see youth unemployment rate? If you look at them, they start from integer to float here, and all of them are either integer or float, which is still numerical data type, right? But if I cut this, if I include object, now it will now include our object data type, and that's why we have something like country name, country code, continent. Do you understand that now? So that's it. Thank you. So now we've seen the first head, we've seen the first head of the columns. So now let's see the last the tail of the column. So you want to do something like df dot tail. So now let's say we want to see the last 5 rows. So you can just do something like 5, control enter. So you can see we have our 15,745 to 15,749. Okay, great. So now let's just continue. We have quite a number of questions here. So let me just open my second tab here so I can start with the EDA. So just give me a minute. I'm trying to open my notes, my phone. Okay, okay, let's go. So now let's start our EDA. Someone said she's in the waiting room. Oh, okay. So sorry, I did not know you were in the waiting room. Okay, so we can just continue. Oh, okay. Now let's start our EDA. I guess by now we already know how simple Python is. So let's start our EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. Exploratory, exploratory data analysis. So now I've exhausted my cells, so I can just click on this one and add more cells. So now let's start. I need df.columns again. So now these are very simple. I just want us to look at it. Now the first thing is the first question actually goes like this. List out um, this this data. So now they said how many countries. So what's happening? And list them. So now this is the first question we want to tackle. They said how many countries are these data sets, are these data gotten from, and list them. Now looking at this particular column, right, looking at these columns, where do you think we can get the name of our countries? Obviously from this column name. So now let's try to look at it. So in case you are not there before. So now let's call on our DF. When I call on my DF, I'm trying to get my data frame. That's the table, basically. And now we want to see the country name, right? I want to know how many countries are present in this particular place. So to call on my countries, I will have to call on my data frame, the whole data frame, right? So So I have to color my data frame, right? So to color my data frame, I don't need all of the data frame. I only need to focus on the country, which is why I'll be using my square bracket, then using my quotation mark, then write what country, right? You have to be, because Python is case sensitive. This is what country name, and the both of them, this C and N, they are in capital letter, while others are in small letter. So you have to write something like country name, right? So if you run this, you can see we have up to 15,749. And the question goes like, how many countries are these data gotten from? How many countries? Does that mean that you have 15,750 countries where these data set are going from? Some countries are recurring, right? So you want to write something like dots unique. That is, I only want the unique value. Even if Nigeria is recurring 20 times, just count it as one, in as much as it is still what? It is still Nigeria. So that's the function of this unique. So, and you can see we have them already. But now the question is actually two. They said, how many countries are this data? How many countries, which is actually the first question. Then the next one is list them. Now, this is actually the last question. I've listed them. Now, let's try to count how many are they. I'll just copy it to the next one. So instead of writing unique, it will now be number of unique, right? You just count it with your Python. So you can actually see that we have 22. And if you actually compare this one with the, I think it was the describe that we got the other time. So you actually know that it is actually 22 countries that we got this data from. I hope you get that one, please. Please, can you write an emoji if you get that? Thank you. Okay. Now the question goes like this. They said, what country, what country has the highest unemployment? So now let's see how to solve this particular question. They said what country has the highest unemployment rate, right? So the first thing you want to write is DF, because you can get your data set from your data frame. That's your table, right? So now, what are we focusing on? You have to know how to solve the question to actually know the code that you'll be writing, right? Which is very, very, very important. Now, let's look at this. So we have, where's the columns again? So we want to look at the country that have the highest unemployment rate. Do you have anything like employment rate here? So we have unemployment rate here. Now, this is very technical, and I'm actually going to the technical part because today is the last day, and we actually need to do stuff like this, right? So now we are dealing with country name. It is with country name. Maybe we add country name, right? Maybe we do this sum, right? Basically, what I'm trying to do is that this is the country name. We actually need the country name. We want to know that, okay, is Indonesia, does it have the most unemployment rate, or South Africa, right? We have to sum all the values here, or we have to find the mean value of all the values here to actually know this one. But now let me start to write the code. But the first thing I want you guys to know is that we are focusing on two columns, right? And in case you cannot understand this, please try to call my name, right? So I can hear you. So the first thing you want to write is what? You want to write something like DF, right? What stuff are you focusing on? You are focusing on what? You are focusing on country name, right? Let me just say now, because this one is actually two country. There's actually, I think they call it bivariate analysis. I'm not very sure, but I think they call it bivariate. So when you call bivariate, there's something we call group by, which you actually did in SQL, right? You want to write df dots. You want to write df dots group by. So now let's look at it. So you want to write something like group by. So now, because we are trying to do two we are trying to group it by country name. So we want to write, open your normal parentheses. Now you have to know the syntax. When you write group by, You are using your normal parentheses, not square parentheses. So I know this one will be this two is right. So I try to break it down again. So we want to write the what the country name. So now we are grouping our country name. So now what's the function or what's the meaning of group by? Doesn't it means that whenever you see Indonesia, even though they are recurring, just call them one, just represent them as a value. That's basically the meaning of group by. So now the second one is this is where we are trying to calculate our this is where we are trying to have our calculation on unemployment rate, right? So maybe you now write in square brackets now, right? So you now write the second one, unemployment, unemployment rate. So both of them are in capital letter. So you have to be very cautious of that one. So now, what are you trying to do on this unemployment rate? I'm trying to like calculate the mean. You can actually calculate anything, but in this case, because you are trying to find the highest unemployment rate, so I think we should calculate the mean instead of sum. Just like dot mean. Now, this dot mean function is working on this one. Then this group bar is working on this one. It is quite easy. So you can just open your bracket and close it. So now let's try to run it. So there's an error somewhere. So now let's try to figure out where the error is. So it said it's saying country name. Can you see? So you have to write it. This N has to be in capital letter. Can you see? We have everything in alphabetical order now. So can you see? We have 51. We have 58 in Brazil. That means there are a lot. We have China 60. Wow. So now what's the question? They said what country, not what countries, which is very important. So because you only need to have one result, right? You have to do something like this. But before you have one result, right, you have to do you have to sort it. Because if I do something like .ed now, it will be returning Argentina. Argentina is not the one that have the highest unemployment rate. Looking at this table, it is China with 60.14. So you want to do something like dots. When you write dots, basically dots just mean that okay, I want to perform a function, right? So this group by is on this country name. This main is on this unemployment rate. Nothing biggie. We've not done a lot of stuff. So now the next thing is I want to arrange them, Abby. So you have to write what dot sort value, right? Once you write dot sort value, open and close your bracket, open your parentheses, then write ascending equals to 2. So now let's start with that. Okay, it's giving me there's a problem. Okay, there's no quotation mark here. Okay. Oh, now when I called on ascending equals to 2, can we see that we actually have something like from lowest to highest, which was not what we want. So you just have to do something like ascending equals to false. And you can actually see it, you have China as the edge. So you can just do dot edge 1. Don't worry, it is quite simple when you start writing it. Can you see it is only returning China. Don't worry, it is quite simple when you try running it. Just look this complex here because you've not started. I don't know what's happening to Python, but it is very simple. It's one of them like most simplest analytics tool for data analysts. So please do get this also before we move on. Even though it looks complex, but it is very, very simple. Do you get that before we move on? Please can you reply with an emoji if you get that, or should I go over it again? Someone should respond though. Okay. I guess I get that then. Okay. Okay, now the next one. So I'll just call someone to actually answer this one. So now let's try to look at this table again. So now we want to count the continent that has the most unemployment rate. So it is saying that what continent has the highest. Let me just copy this question there, but there's no time. We only have 24 more minutes now. What continent? So I would like to call on Mr. Mohammed to actually answer this one because we did something like this yesterday. Continent. So Mr. Mohammed, are you there? Please can you unmute your mic? Thank you.
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
So now we want to write what continent has the highest unemployment rate.
Okay. So it will be DF. Then
Yeah.
you open this thing.
Please can you speak up? I can barely hear you.
Open brackets.
Open brackets.
There is that continent on the column headers. Yes, continent name.
Yeah,
No,
there is continent name.
what's your continent name? Dot
I have to use
value.
square bracket, have you?
Yes,
Okay. Look at the
continent.
continent. The name of the continent is what? Only continent, not
Continent.
continent name.
What's your continent?
So continent, have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you close dot
But what?
value.
You said what?
Dot value
Dot value
underscore count.
underscore counts.
Then dot head.
Open and close bracket.
Close.
That's
Yes, open
actually
and close
nice name.
bracket. Then dot head
Dot
in
what?
bracket 1. Dot head.
Dot okay, dot head in bracket one. But thank you so much. Before we do that, let's run this one. Let's see what is happening there first. Okay. So you can actually see that we have the most unemployment in Europe, followed by what? Asia, followed by Americas, followed by three, followed by Africa, followed by Oceania. So now, because they are asking us what continent has the highest one, so you can just do dot edge, right? Open brackets one. So we can let's run this one. It will only return what? Europe, which is basically what we need. But now let's twist this particular question up. Let's say, let me twist it up. So that would be another line of code. So now let's say what continents has the uh and plot it. Let me say and plot it. Okay. Um so in this case I want to write uh maybe you can say continent with right. I'm trying to change the question.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now continent with the highest rate unemployment rate and plot it. So now let's try to plot this one. Let's try to run this code again. Right. So you can actually see with this is like normal thing we've written the other time, right? So we are trying to plot this thing because this thing Python is just very simple. So after the last function, you can just write plot. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to plot. You can just write plot. Now open the bracket. What type of plot are you trying to do? The kind is what? The type of plot I'm trying to do is what? Is a bar, right? Close your bracket, then run it. Now see something. Can you see? And that's it. We've plotted a graph. So easy. And this plot will not be able to do, we will not be able to access it if you not have your matplotlib running. That's why we run this import.pyplot. It is the one working in the background to actually get that plotted, right? So you have to know. Can you see now? We have our bar, we have it running already. Can you see? Now you can actually switch things up. Now let's say I don't want my this normal bar. I want the horizontal bar, right? These columns, but I want the normal bar H. So that's do bar H, that is, you want it in horizontal. So now let's go on this one. Can you see? is running the way exactly the way we want it. And you can actually see that Europe has the highest one. But let's say you don't want color green, color blue, but you want color green. So you can just say, okay, help me to change this color. Even there are a lot of things that you can do. Can you see? You can add your line. You can add, if it is line, if it is the kind of graph that you want, if it is, you can add a line. It can be a bar, it can be a bar age, it can be an histogram, it can be a box, it can be a KDE chart, density. You can just be a lot of charts, right? You cannot use everything here. But I'm trying to tell us the use cases of this kind, what can be inside our kind, right? So what are we trying to do? Let's say we want color red, right? So you can just write your color red there. Then next one is, can you see it is in red? So you can even write it in your English. Let's say you have something like sky blue. You can write something like sky blue. And you see it is giving sky blue. Or let's say you have teal. I mean, it is Python. There is literally nothing that is not on Python. That's why it is one of the most advanced visualizing tool. Can you see it is in teal now? Can you see how beautiful Python is? Please, do we understand that part or should I go over it again? Please, I need your response. If you understand, can you reply with an emoji? Okay, thank you. So I guess you have to move on then. So now let's move on to the next question. So now they said unemployment time. So now the next question is unemployment trend trend over. Okay. So now unemployment trend over time. The first thing you want to call is what is your DF. So now where do we have unemployment trend? When we say trend, that means how as unemployment progresses or what is that or decline over the years. So basically we are dealing with the years. So do we have anything like year? Okay, yeah, we do have something like year. So now the first thing you want to know is where do this data set, where does it start? Where do we collect it? So we can just do um a minor distinction here. So you can just do here dot main, right? So you want to know where this data collection starts. So that's the minimum. So now let's run this one. Is given here it's not defined. Oh, I have to add this one in quotation mark. So sorry. So that's why I said, even as a professional, we keep getting errors. So please don't be scared of error when you see it. Right? Just know how to, instead of don't be scared of all these things. Just look at the key error there, the name error. Name here is not defined. Now, if I run this one now, can you see it started from 1990? So I can just Control C this one, go to another line, Control V. So instead of min, I can just do max. So I want to look at the trend. So this then the data collection start from 1990 to 2024. So now we are trying to look at the trend over time, right? So now let me add more cells. So I can just I hope we know what I pressed. I pressed B, right? So I can just do something like we have BF dot here, GA. Right, let's do value counts. So and see 2021 was the highest. We are trying to look at the wave, right? Let's do something like plots kind equals to 9. So now let's try to plot this. So can you see? It's actually plotting, but it looks so anyway, can you see? It's actually a good thing, just that it's not well formatted. So let me just try to. Can you see how it has looked over the year? So we have um I don't know. I want to make it horizontal, but I forgot the line of code I'm supposed to write. Anyway, I might correct this in our next. Oh, there's no next class. But yeah, let's just look at the trend. So over time, from this. it is so bad to read. Uh, sorry, I'm trying to get how to read this line of code. And one thing about any chart is if it is hard to read, that means you are not plotting it very well. So let's, instead of using line, let's use bar first. I want to understand what's happening. So over the years, it has increased. No, it's not following a definite. Oh, I know where the problem is coming from. Now you can see 1999 followed by 2005, followed by 2002. So it's not really like following. But in this bar chart, I can easily tell that in 2021, there is a whole lot of what's unemployment that year. So I think 2021 is post-COVID. I think that's what have affected it. So that's why there is a lot of, there are a lot of people being sacked. That was why there was a lot of unemployment. Can you see? So yeah, so because it's 2024, so we can look at 2024 now. It has drastically reduced. A lot of people have gotten job. Look at 2021, look at 2024. There has been a lot of improvement over time, right? So let's just leave it back at line. The problem is, no, let's leave it like this. The problem is actually that it is not arranged alphabetically, which is quite okay. So now let's move to the next question, right? We have a long way to go, and this is already 2:46. Uh, so they said compare the unemployment before, during, and after COVID. Oh, what am I writing? Okay, I need more line. So now we are trying to solve a question here. Compare the employment before and after. So now let's try to run our table again. Let's look at it. Where can we get before, during, and after COVID? So you can actually see something here. So where is it? We have year category. We have the post-COVID, COVID, during COVID, and stuff like that. So that's where we are trying to go. Now, because we are trying to compare unemployment before, during, and after COVID, so you can actually look at the unemployment rate here. So we are trying to look at the year category and unemployment rate. Remember, when you are dealing with two columns, what are you trying to do? You are going to use what? A group by function. So the first thing you have to write dot group by. Why are you grouping by? Why are you grouping your data sets on? I'm grouping on this year category. So you have to write your what year category here. Year category. Category. Right? So the next one is will have to be in the square bracket. So it will be what in unemployment rates, right? So that's basically easy. So you can just do dots main. So we can see that during COVID, can you see now? During COVID, we have a lot of unemployment. Post COVID, it was 4.49.86. Pre-COVID, it was 49.7, even though there are no significant difference. But because this is like a whole world, 1% really matters. It contains a whole lot of people. Even it is like 2% difference or 1% thereabout. Okay, so you can easily see that in pre-COVID, we have 49.7, sorry. In post-COVID, we have 49.8. In COVID, we have 51 points. But that means COVID, you can easily say, hey, someone is in the, oh, sorry. So you can easily say that post-COVID and COVID, there are a lot of unemployed people, right? So basically, so now to plot this kind of thing, you can just let me do that in another row. So Control C, Control V. So we are trying to plot it. You just say dot plot. So what's the kind of plot that you want? I want it to be a bar. Let's do bar H. So now let me try to show you something. So you can do, I don't like this color. Let's do, because we are talking about, what are we talking about? We are talking about unemployment here. So let's use color red. Let's use color equals to red. You have to remember to put that in quotation mark. So now let's run it. So can you see? Now look at this thing. We have our year category already, but now there's no X label. To actually add our X label, you can just move to the second line, do something like PLT. Can you see? in um in Google Colab, there is actually something like AI because it uses the internet connection. Can you see it is already giving me suggestion that you want to write X label unemployment rate, right? I can easily say yes. I can by to say yes, I will just click on my tab key on my keyboard. Can you see? PLT. Remember, what do we store as PLT? That's our matplotlib as PLT. Now let's say I also want a title. So we still write PLT dot title. What do we want as our title? We want unemployed. Can you see it is already giving me a title suggestion? So because there is no time, so I'll just click on tab, right? So what else do we want? You can just write now. I want to show you the importance of this plt.show. So now the plt.show, maybe I'll just run this one so I'll show you. So can you see we have our year category now? We have our unemployment rate, then we have our title here. So now, but this we have something like text equals to 0.5. This extra wording said. Now we don't want to see that extra wordings. You can just write something like plt.show. So it will remove all those extra wordings. Basically, that's the function. Can you see we don't have any extra wordings there? So that's the function of plt.show. And you can see now we have our X label, Y label, X label here, Y label here. We have our title here, we have our colored, and you see, and everything is looking so glamorous, so mushy, right? So that's how simple this can be. Now let's try to solve at least two more questions before we call it a day. So now let's do gender-based unemployment comparison. Unemployment comparison. Right? So to do this one, remember we are trying to look at the gender and the unemployment rate. The same thing with group by. Basically, I'm trying to tailor my project to group by and value count because basically, trust me, that's all you need for basic data analysis. Right? You can just do something like df dot. Right? You can do group by. What are we grouping by on? We are grouping on what column? Can you see it already giving me because I'm using internet connection? This is Google Colab. It has already suggested the line of code and it is actually correct, right? Not like I've written it before, right? I mean, you can see I just downloaded everything right here. So you can just click on gender here. So I can just run this one and it is actually correct. Now it is giving me that gender is wrong. So group by gender. So let's see what's wrong there. Let me see how it is being spelled. So to see, so it is giving me invalid syntax. What's the invalid syntax there? Okay, let's try to look at it. df dots. Let's run it. Is there anything like gender? Okay, we have gender. Okay. Gender based. Oh, now it is giving me, sorry, this is where the error is, right? This one. So this, it is not, Google Colab is finding it so hard to understand what this line means because this is actually a comment, not like a line of code. So I'll just comment it out by adding an hashtag, right? So if I should run it now, can you see I have it now? So I can see that in total, I have female, I have more. uh, Wait, what do we mean by total? What is that supposed to mean? So now let's go to df open bracket. Now, let me tell you what I'm doing, right? I did something like this and I got something like gender. I have three genders, right? We have female gender, we have male gender, and we have total gender. What does that supposed to mean? So that's what I want to look at now. So I want to write my df. That's focusing on the old data frame, maybe. But I'm trying to focus on only the gender column. So I'm writing a square bracket, right? So I'll write gender, right? So now let's look at this. So let's just say uh, so we actually have three columns, which is quite ridiculous, right? So what do we mean by total equals to 5.50? Anyway, uh, I don't know what is there another gender named total? right? Isn't that gender name total? I don't know about that before, but there's actually a way to clean this data. So let me just clean the data, this data. So now we can see how to actually clean the data. So to clean this data, I can just say EF. So I don't know if this will be too much. But now the first thing I want to say is that I already know that inside this gender, there are three values. We have female, we have male, and this total does not make sense to me. So I'm trying to change this total to unknown. So it is better we have female, male, and unknown. So I'm clicking on DF, that's the old data frame, but I'm focusing on one column, which is what? Which is called gender. So I'm writing DF open and close bracket gender, right? Dot replace, because I'm trying to replace this total, right? Replace. Can you see once I start writing my replace, it is someone is still there. Trying already. Mm, mm, okay. So can you see it's already giving me suggestion. So I'm trying to replace what am I trying to replace? Open your brackets. I'm trying to replace what am I trying to replace? Total. So now you have to use something like this. Can you see? I'm using a curly bracket. Let me enlarge it so you can see it better. So can you see? We have df gender dot. um, so we have df gender dot replace. So what are we trying to replace? You are trying to replace the total. So you have to write something like total. Am I writing right? Am I writing the right thing? Yeah. Uh, so I will try to explain it now. Um, So now what I've written here is gender dot replace, right? Total equals to I'm trying to replace total to be what? To be unknown. Now let's try to run this. Is it running? So now it is running, no problem, Abby. So actually now let's say I've actually changed it. So now let's try to look at our gender here. Def dot gender. So I can just say dot unique. So I think we should already know all of this thing already. Dot unique means the unique values inside this gender. Well, this one has to be in quotation mark. So we have male total and female. That means it has not been changed. To actually make this data cleaning change, you can just write something like equals to in place. This in place means that okay, I actually want this um particular data cleaning to take effect on the old data frame. So now, if I should rerun this one, can you see we have it has been changed to unknown. Please, do we get that or should I go over it again? Can someone unmute their mic?
Please, can you go over it again?
Okay. So basically, what we try to do is when I was looking at this gender column, right, I saw that we have three genders, right? Agreed. Then I looked through it. I'm seeing something like male, female, and total. To me, there is no gender named total, so I had to change it, right? I had to change it. So I'm trying to change that total to unknown. That is, it's better a gender is unknown. That's the, for a gender to be named total. So I'm trying to replace it. So I'm now doing something like df.gender. That I'm focusing on the gender column in the old data frame. Then what am I trying to do? I'm trying to replace a value. What is the value that I'm trying to replace? I'm trying to replace total with what's unknown. But when I run this, it is not taking effect. When we say it's not taking effect, that it is just showing me like a demo. Demo means like okay, like a okay, if I actually do a data cleaning, this is actually what it will look like, right? So basically, that's what it is showing. Then I'm not saying, okay, I actually want this data clean. That's why I wrote in place equals to 2. And once I wrote in place equals to 2, I can see that it has taken in effect by writing df gender dot unique, which is male, unknown, and female. So now, if I should rerun this particular one now, can you see now it has been changed from total to unknown, which is quite easy. Do you understand that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So actually, there are no more questions that we have that we cannot solve with what we've written. So I'll just write two more questions that some of us should solve. So now let me just look at the data frame. So it is very easy when you look to today's class and yesterday's class. You will be able to do a lot of stuff. So now I want someone to tell me. I think I will call names. So I want you to know. So I want to know the income level. I want to know how many income level, right? I want to know the income level. Okay. The first question will be, let's go with the region. Which region has the highest unemployment rate, and plot it? So I will go with Musumala. Please, Miss Musumala, are you there? Are you there, Miss Musumala? Okay, I guess she's not with us. Miss Grace, are you there? Can you give it a try?
Sorry, please, what's your questions? What did you say? Like, please, can
Okay,
you
I said
repeat
the question is, which region has the highest
the
unemployment rates?
question?
So we have our region. Let's do it together. So we have our region here already, right? So we are trying to focus on that region. So because DF is referring to the old data frame, right? And we are focusing on our region. So you just write down what? A square bracket, a quotation mark, focus on your region. Sorry, I lost my internet connection. So we are trying to look at the region with the highest unemployment rate. So you can just do something like does value count, right? It is quite easy. I guess it's because it's new information. I guess you need to just sit down and watch the recording. Miss Grace, do you understand? Hello, Miss Grace, are you still there? Grace, are you there? Okay. So basically, that's all. I think I actually treated everything on my end. So, do we have any question? Do we have any question, please? So, thank you so much for choosing the Alex Data Hub. We really appreciate you. And yeah, today will be the last live class that we have. Further communication will be, further information will be communicated to us through the social media platform. And yeah, I know I can remember that we have not done the last Power BI. A recorded link will be sent before Tuesday by God's grace. And yes, today will be our last physical live class. We really, really appreciate everyone for joining. I don't know if Afsat is there. Probably she can give us a word or two, a closing word. Miss Afsat, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay, can you like give a closing word and some or a vote of thanks?
Mm, well, just as the tutor has said, thank you very much for sticking with us through this journey. We really appreciate your efforts and your time and everything. And we hope to keep being with you on your journey forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for that to Mr. Fat. So we will communicate to you how you will go about your certificate and everything that you require, all the requirement that you need to meet before you collect your certificates. And also we share future opportunity with you. And as I have promised before you join this class that there will be a free 1 month internship, I will also send the link to the internship as soon as possible. So we will fulfill all our promises before the class, and still we will share future opportunity with you. So in a way, we are doing more than we promise, and that's the goal. That's our aim as a virtual school, and that's us protecting the integrity beyond the money. And I know we collected a generous amount of money. Compared to what others charge. And I guess we have more values. We've impacted more values into you as a student and future collaborator or future data analyst. I know, but one thing is learning does not stop here, please. You need to continue learning. You need to be a professional data analyst. You need to continuing practicing your skills, continue learning new trend, new skills, and stay focused, basically, stay disciplined, stay stay curious, which is actually very, very important, right? And if you have any question, you can direct it to Ms. Afsat, or you can ask it on the group, or you can come to my DM directly. If there is any job opportunity, don't be shy or don't be scared or don't hold on to it. Just share it on the group for everyone to benefit it. So today will be the last live classes. Thank you everyone for joining. I still remain Shitra Adekoye, your data analyst tutor. Thank you all and have a great day. Also, remember to share your journey on LinkedIn. We'll be there to share it for more visibility. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. It has been a wonderful period of mentorship and learning. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you too.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.